The biggest mistake most people make when looking at the attachment styles is they see the attachment styles as categories rather than on a sliding scale. Now, this is part 2. You can go to my page to find part 1, where we discussed why we did not put secure in the middle of the spectrum.
So as you can see, secure is here on the left. Oh, what happened to my color? Okay, secure here is on the left, and this is the only really healthy attachment style. Everything else here is pathological. So you don't want to be anxious. That's not ideal. That's pathological. And to the other extreme, avoidant, that's also pathological. That's even more pathological, in my opinion. In fact, if you go on the internet, some people suggest that it is much worse to deal with an avoidant than it is to deal with, let's say, a narcissist. So we have secure on the left here. And for whatever reason, whether it's maternal deprivation or the lack of constant care during the first 2 or 3 years of your development, then you start going down this spectrum. And if it's bad enough, you eventually get to avoidant, which is really, it's a slippery slope. Once you get that far, I don't think anything is able to bring you back. Now, the good thing is for most people, you are not going to be avoidant. I think some studies show that there's between 5, maybe maximum 10% of all humans are quite avoidant. So we've actually surveyed over 20,000 people through our blog about their attachment styles, and about 35 to maybe 40% end up in the secure category, and anxious to somewhere in the middle, where disorganized, fearful avoidant, dismissive avoidant, they all sort of exist right here in the middle here. And in this range, it's usually about 40% as well. And then toward the extreme, you have like 5 to 10%, usually, according to a lot of different studies. So this is the spread of where people are on the spectrum. And the reason why we made it this way is because this is the journey that you take when you are developing. We all start off wanting to be secure, but if you didn't have that maternal care or the nurturing that we needed, we get to anxious. Eventually, if that continues on, we become anywhere in the middle here: disorganized, fearful avoidant, ambivalent, anxious avoidant. Everyone has different terms for this, but it's a combination of anxious and avoidant. You sometimes swing between the two. Sometimes you just don't know how to react. It's basically a mixed bag, a disorganized way of going from anxious to avoidant. But this is certainly nowhere near secure. If the lack of nurturing continues, then eventually become avoidant, and that's when you get those very, very severe personality disorders where they just can't connect with anyone or everyone. So I used to think that in order to be avoidant, you kind of have to be one of those orphans in those post-war orphanages where they got zero care whatsoever. But if you read Bowlby's work with his juvenile thieves, some of these juvenile thieves had very strong avoidant tendencies, and they were raised in loving families. But the key here was that they spent 9 months away from their family between the ages of 1 and 2 because of the outbreak of diphtheria. And that was the protocol. And that was enough to give them severe avoidant tendencies.
And so they weren't allowed any visitation from parents, can you imagine? And after they returned to their families, the families tried to treat them as they previously did and get that child back. They tried to get that child back, but they couldn't.
It was too far gone. 9 months without their family, too far gone.